I hope it's okay if I start with a really blunt question.
Sure.
I've seen folks describe you as a sicko, as a sadistic creep, based on your films, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Nobody that knows me would say any of those things.
Sure. But people have walked out of your films.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with this most recent one.
I have no idea how people will respond to my work. That's the truth. I am making the movie first for myself and then for an audience. I don't really know what that audience is. And when it happened with Crash, I was delighted. I mean, it was the talk of the Croisette. I mean, it
Delighted.
was, you know, it was, well, yeah, because the last thing you want is to make a boring movie that everybody says is, it's fine, it's good, it's okay. I've never made a boring movie.
Is there a particular way that you want people to react when they see your films? Because even when I think of my experience watching Crimes of the Future, I wasn't quite sure how to feel.
But that's correct. That's the right way to feel, because what I'm saying is, I don't have an agenda when I'm making a movie. Alfred Hitchcock used to love to say that he was a puppet master, basically, and the audience, they were his puppets. For me, it's a completely different thing. As I'm saying, I've had these ideas, these images, these thoughts, and I'm going to present them to you in a kind of a narrative form, and I'd like to see what you think as you encounter them.
It's a brand new organ, never before seen.
You wanted to film this in Toronto. I mean, so many of your films
Yes.
have been made in Toronto.
Yeah.
What happened there? What were the obstacles? Why didn't it happen?
There weren't obstacles, it was an opportunity, and it's basically money, you know, as is often the case. The Greek government was offering a huge subsidy, 40% of your budget they would basically pay for if you shot in Greece.
When you mention money and funding,
Yeah.
I mean, I suspect that must be a constant, either a thorn in your side or at least something in your mind.
Oh, it is. I mean, as a director, you are involved in trying to sell the idea of the movie to distributors. Action! And there was a time when I thought maybe I wasn't going to make any more movies. And part of it was just to not deal with that kind of hassle. There were 19 entities involved in putting this movie together. 19 entities investing in this movie. And they all had to sign at the same time. So after 3 years of not knowing if the movie's really happening or not, we went to Athens, and for the first 2 weeks, it was understood that we might be flying back to Canada because the financing might fall through. So that's how edgy the movie is from the creative side.
But
you know?
even with your name recognition, your body of work,
Makes no difference. I
the
mean,
A-list actor
I've
on
talked to
board.
Marty Scorsese about this many times. Everybody thinks that Martin Scorsese can make any movie he wants. He cannot. He has to struggle exactly the same way. Unless, for example, your movie is completely financed by an entity like Netflix, you are an independent filmmaker and you're putting it together like it's like a Frankenstein stitched together quilt of entities. It's not for the faint of heart, let's put it that way.
I'm sorry, it just blows my mind a little bit that, you know, one of the most acclaimed directors in this country, I mean, if the man wants to create a movie in the city that he's called home for his entire life,
well, if I
let
was
the
a
man
poet,
do.
it wouldn't be a problem, you know. That's what I was thinking I might have to do, just stop making movies and write another novel.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever thought about or been tempted to join the dark side, as it were, to join up with Netflix, some big Hollywood studio, and make the movie that they want you to
In fact,
make?
my return to filmmaking was partly induced by Netflix because, of course, during the pandemic, I was watching a lot of streaming series, as I think many people were. And I thought, this is interesting filmmaking. It's not like movie making, but it is cinema. And I was interested in thinking that I might want to create a series. And so I did actually go to LA and meet with 3 top people at Netflix, pitched them an idea. They liked it. I wrote what they called a prototype, which is like a pilot. They liked that. I wrote a second episode, and then they said, yeah, we don't want to do it. So,
what was the reason? Why did they say that?
That's happened to me so much throughout my career. It's this. They say, we love your work. We want to work with you, just not this, whatever it is that we're proposing. So they want to edge close to the flame, but then they're afraid of getting singed, and they back out.
There must be moments of insecurity where you ask yourself in those moments, is it me or is it the industry, just the way it is?
No, I always know it's them.
It's them.
I never think it's me.
What is your sense of the future of places like this?
Yeah.
I mean, the theater that we sit in.
I think there won't be cinemas. I think there'll be very few cinemas. I think it'll be a niche audience that goes to cinemas, and I think it'll primarily be cinema will be a streaming art form. That's what I think.
Is that a good thing?
I don't think it's a bad thing because I've watched some terrific series and movies on my home television screen. I mean, the thing is that you can have, in my opinion, a completely full cinematic experience. And in fact, if you invite a lot of friends, you can have an audience there as well.
You know, all of this being said, is there a part of you that yearns to make a big, huge budget Hollywood blockbuster epic kind of movie?
So I have flirted with the idea, but the thing about those huge monster movies, and I know this from because I have many director friends who have done them, is that it's a big chunk of your life, and you spend a lot of it waiting. You're shooting. You've got huge special effects. You've got huge stunts, and you're not in control. And for me, I'm not an artist if I'm not in control.
Wasn't there a Star Wars movie that once upon a time you were...
No. The story about Star Wars it's just a funny moment. I was in my kitchen at home in Toronto, of course, and I got a phone call, and the guy said, I'm with Lucasfilms, and we were wondering if you would be interested in directing Revenge of the Jedi. It was called Revenge first until they realized that the Jedi don't take revenge, so they had to change it to Return of the Jedi. But then it was called Revenge of the Jedi. And me and my simple arrogance said, well, I'm not used to doing other people's material. And it was like, goodbye, click, that was it. That's the whole of the Star Wars story.
David Cronenberg, it's been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. Thank you.
For me too, thank you.